Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Yashwant, colleagues, Chanakya University, and more importantly, my young friends here who represent the Chanakya student body. I am extremely happy to be here today. It's my first visit to the campus, although I think they were tired of calling me at some stage. They said, this person is not going to come. I think it so happened a few things that we did here, I was traveling. So I could not really visit the campus, but I think it was worth the wait. And such a beautiful, imposing frontage. I keep saying, I'm a graduate of IIT, I worked in another IIT, I used to be part of IISc in some format and so on. I keep telling that a good educational institution's first signage is, it's not only about educational institution, I have seen it in many great places. The first point of entry that you have, in IIM Bangalore, if you come, you will see that. You enter from anywhere, you will see this. The first point of entry, that building that you enter will have a ceiling of at least some 50 feet. Because you should feel small, particularly in an education institute, first of all, you should feel small, otherwise you'll learn nothing. So it should be a very imposing structure. That's why when you enter into a temple in South India, you have a tower. It's a towering structure, right? If you pass through the tower, you feel very small. Not in an inferior sense, that humility will come. So I got that feeling when I entered into Chanakya today. Such an imposing, nice structure. I think architects and all of us have put our thoughts into it very well. Let me first of all tell you this birth of this university, Chanakya University. If you go to an astrologer, they talk about Kundalini, They talk about the Jataka. It talks about when was somebody born. Then they do some calculations and, they say this. So basically, I think Chanakya University is a new horizon in higher education space. And I think this has happened at a very, very important time in the post-independence history of Bharat. This is something which I want every one of you to know. And it is indeed fortunate that you have chosen to be part of this whole thing that is happening, because these things don't happen very often. As a person who was responsible for creating a similar university ab initio, I say this with a lot of conviction and experience, that it is very easy to be part of a 100-year-old university, a 50-year-old institution, etc., etc. But God chooses only a few people. We call them as students or faculty or the vice chancellor or the staff, whatever name you give it. God chooses only a few out of this 130 crore population country, right? Yet God will choose only a few to be part of creating or making the history of a new institution. You are all part of it, along with the faculty. You will not understand it now. You will understand it, maybe 10 years down the line, especially, the students that I am saying. Because there are certain very unique and important things about a new institution. And so I think it is indeed very good that you all have chosen to be part of this yajna that is happening. Now, I told you Chanakya University has come at the right time. You may be wondering, am I just saying for the sake of making all of you happy? No. I told Chanakya is a very important timing in the post-independence history of Bharat. So let me quickly take you through. Many of you may not know that there was a study which was published which said that from zero, after the birth of the Common Era, or AD, now they say CE, Common Era. Earlier we used to say BC and AD, now it is before Common Era and Common Era, BCE and CE. from 0 CE to 1700 CE or 1700 AD, whatever is convenient to you. There was a study which showed that the most influential country, economically, culturally, etc., but let's talk about economics, share of global trade. This is one measure. If the entire global trade is taken as a basket, then the question is, what share of that basket was India? The study showed that it was between India and China, it was 52% of the share of global trade, which means half the things that are happening in the world was only happening here. And India was around 27-28%. It was even more 1,000 years back. But in any case, it was never less than 27%. Right? When Britishers left this country, India's share of global trade was under 1%. That's what happened to this country. In 200 years, we were ripped off of all of our economic famines, Bengal famine, there are 4 or 5 major famines that happened, were manufactured, orchestrated by the British. This country can never have famine. This is one of the highly endowed natural resources in the world. God has been kind to us. We have minerals, we have the best cotton that you ask for, we have the largest deposit of aluminium and iron and etc., etc. The flora and fauna here is absolutely fabulous. Yet, in 1993, India's share of global trade was 0.69%. So between 1950 and 1990, it even eroded. Don't ask me who was responsible, because I'm not going to get into those kind of conversations now. Between 2005 and now, in the last 15 years, right, India's share of global trade doubled. From 2.2%, it went to 4.45%. That's what happened in the last 7-8 years. As we all know, India has demonstrated its superiority and its strength. First, we demonstrated in IT and ITES. We are the IT and ITES reference frame for the whole world. Largest corporation, I remember when I was, this is not now, I was a PhD student in the 80s in IIT Madras. Then 10 years later, when I went there once, one of my friends told me, sir, just behind this IIT campus is where the entire payroll of Shell, global Shell corporation is running. We had everything here. The entire publishing industry in the whole world, printing is only the last part. There are all other things which has nothing to do with paper. They are all, India is the publishing capital of the world. You know, creating the design, setting up the pages, page making. Finally, you have to print. Print you can do anywhere you want. So we demonstrated our capability. Of course, we started with IT, ITES. The big automobile manufacturers, their R&D centers are only in Bangalore and around. Only this country can do R&D, high-end work involving state-of-the-art technology. So we demonstrated our capability. The whole world knows it. Nobody has an iota of doubt about it, about IT, ITES. That's the first thing. We have supplied. So far I was thinking we have supplied the top management and the leadership for the biggest multinational corporations of the world only from India. Whether it was Unilever or Pepsi, whether it is Microsoft, whether it is Google, you name anything, you find only Indians are occupying the top management and the leadership positions. You know the names, I don't have to. That's what I was thinking. But now in the last 1 year, my thinking has changed. We are also providing the topmost leadership in governance. You have the Prime Minister of UK, who turns out to be our son-in-law, and our son-in-law of Karnataka in some ways, etc. And now there is this Vivek Ramasamy is making so much of this thing in the US elections and so on. So not only in the corporate arena, I think this country has shown to the world that we can actually make use of, we can provide leadership, governance, all that. In fact, the biggest shining thing that happened was how this country managed Corona. A country of this population, 1.3 billion, and the kind of things that we did. Every one of us are traced in terms of whether did you get your vaccination, did you get the first round, second. It is impossible for people to think, I am telling you, to manage this population with this kind of a program and then tracking and what is happening and so on is impossible. We demonstrated to the world that we can do a very high order scalability solutions for the society which is unheard of, unimaginable in terms of deployment, monitoring and follow-up and so on. We demonstrated that in Corona. Now the talk of the town in the whole world is digital financial infrastructure that this country has put. In fact, I hate to now deal with some foreign companies on website because I have to take my credit card, I have to, write the last 3 digit, etc., etc. We don't do any of that. You buy one, 10 rupaike ondu kottamali soppu, coriander leaves, you can take your mobile and do Deeparadhana. That's it. That's why this German chancellor came and wanted to know how to do it. He went and bought vegetables in Delhi. People are baffled. People are stunned by what is called this digital financial inclusion. The world doesn't understand how can you deploy it for such a scale. 1.3 billion, don't think anything is possible. You had to have 3.5 Europes to get 1.3 billion or 5 Europes, I don't know. I have to quickly calculate that number and tell you. Impossible. They can't even imagine how to actually handle these kind of things. Now look at what happened in G20. There's so much of talk that we will not be able to even have a declaration, a final declaration which will have a consensus. But the way with which we have done, the strength, the vision, the conviction and the strategy with which we are able to hold on and then show to the world that we can make things happen. Right? All these, what are all these saying to youngsters like you? It simply is suggesting that we are inheriting a world of much greater possibility for Bharat than what it was when we were graduating. This was not the situation. Let me tell you, I graduated in 83 as an engineer. Out of 290 people whom we graduated, right, 260 of them went to US. I am not joking. Some of them slowly have come back. Only a few of us stayed in this country. In a batch of 290 graduating engineers from one of the topmost engineering institution in this country, 260 of them have to go abroad. That was the situation when we were graduating. You people are not like that. You have a world of opportunity which has unfolded in front of you. And that is why I say this university and your part of this university is a very, very special occasion for all of us. Now, there is something which I want all of you youngsters must understand. Opportunity knocks a nation once in 200 years. It doesn't knock every now and then. It doesn't knock every now and then. Opportunity will come and tap you once in 200 years. The whole world is tapping us now. The whole world is looking upon Bharat because we have demonstrated that I can transact a 3 rupee transaction without anything, completely paperless. Just a mobile, I can live do transactions of any magnitude that we can think of. The digital financial infrastructure, the UPI and inclusion and things like that. So what we have demonstrated is a world of opportunity that is, let me tell you, the world of opportunities that are going to unfold from you, you cannot imagine, I cannot imagine. Simply we cannot. You are at a very right time of your personal life and you are at a very right time of the history of this nation because the world has decided that we need to tap Bharat. You may be wondering, why am I saying this? Because this opportunity will come once in 200 years. And it is up to you to say, what do I do? How to make good of this opportunity? We could not do it because we grew up in a certain constraint. I mean, we made the best use of it. We moved on. There's no complaint. I'm not really having a regret or I'm not really complaining. But what I am saying is what you have today is extraordinarily a very different frame of thing. I want every one of you to understand it. Because your starting point in this university starts there. I want you to remember this 24/7. That you will inherit a world where sky is the limit. In fact, when we had the launch of Aditya L1, our Prime Minister said, sky is also not the limit. So I do not know what is the limit, because our Indians never thought of a limit. I must quote you, since you are all here. People think the rishis are all sitting in a forest and doing nothing. That's not true. There is one very beautiful Upanishad called Chandogya Upanishad. Because I teach it to my top management program. I quote from there. Only then they all get up and then sit properly. So in Chandogya Upanishad, in the 6th book, there is a 23rd chapter, in which there is a very beautiful mantra. Rishi is telling a king. King is not telling the Rishi. Rishi is telling the king. Nalpe sukamasti bhuma vai sukam. He says, in alpa, in small little things, there is no charm. Na alpe sukamasti bhuma vai sukam. Think big, that's what we teach in IAM to our CEOs. Think big. This is a slogan which I find in the last only 10 years. Thinking big. Thinking big, Chandogya Upanishad Rishi is saying, Nalpe sukamasti bhuma vai sukam. Yad alpam tad martyam. He says, if you go after small little things, they are all mortal. They will perish. You have to go after big things. That is the DNA of this country. Let me tell you, if you read Upanishads, you will find that your aspiration level will go orders of magnitude. Unfortunately, nobody is reading Upanishads. They think they are all useless piece of information for some purohits. This is what we think. That's not true. They think Veda is for some pandits to actually recite some mantra. That's not true. There is a Nasadiya Sukta. I keep quoting it. Nasadasi, Tadanim, Sadasi. There is only 8 mantras. The whole world is now researching that mantra. Because it talks about the origin of the universe. Cosmogeny, cosmology. The rishis are speculating, how did this world come? That is what the scientists today are breaking their head. They are talking about Big Bang theory. They are talking about, God particle research and all that. They are exactly trying to do that. They want to understand where from this world came and where would it go. Our rishis actually speculated that. The Nasadiya Sukta, if you go and Google Nasadiya Sukta, you will find people are talking about cosmology, cosmogeny and so on. So this country has that kind of a background. And that's part of every one of your DNA, I am telling you. That's part of every one of your DNA sitting here. So when the opportunity knocks, you have to get the Hanuman out of you. That is what I want you to think as you stepped into this university. Now, what does it mean to succeed? Opportunity is just one part of it. As I told you, opportunity will come. But if you don't take the opportunity, what do? You can't do anything. One king went for hunting. And all these are stories from Upanishad. I don't want to quote Upanishad, but I'll keep telling you the kind of insights we have. One king went on a hunting and then he got lost into the forest. He didn't know how to come out. Obviously, he didn't know. He got somewhere deep into the forest. One hunter got him out because he knows all the, how to get out and all that, because that is his job anyway. So this hunter got him out of the forest. As he stepped to the mainland, he came to the mainland. So the king thought, I should tell him. He told him, do you know who I am? I am the king of this country. Come to the court tomorrow, I will give you whatever you want. So this hunter was so happy. Oh, king, I have helped the king. Things like that. Next day morning, he goes to the court. And then the king said, tell me what you want. Do you know what this hunter asked? This hunter asked, sir, give me 1 kilogram of rice and 2 kilograms of vegetables so that we can have a good dinner today. His thinking was only that much. He could have asked half the kingdom, he would have given. In the same way, the world is knocking. You should know what to ask. You should be able to have certain things with you so that you are placing yourself in a very advantageous position. Make use of this university and your education for that. Of course, get your grades, get your exams. I think teachers will do it, you do it. But don't stop that. That means you have just wasted your time. So what is it that you need for the rest of your lifetime to make a huge difference to yourself? Because opportunity set is now really growing like anything. There are a few things that you should think about. First of all, let me tell you, the future world belongs to those who have professional competence. If you are not professionally good, you have no place. You will be just put on the side. Develop professional competence. If you are a commerce student, you should know the basics of commerce. Don't waste your time, whiling away and all that. That's all. You have lost your opportunity. If you don't have professional competence, nobody will touch you. Use the university to develop your professional competence. That's the first thing you need. I want you to remember that and keep it in your mind all the time. Second, you should have integrity, authenticity, moral and ethical code. Because, 1 or 2 days we can be smart. Beyond that we cannot. We can't. If you want to learn the hard way, that will be very costly. Only when we build a foundation of integrity and authenticity, I should be true to myself. That's called authenticity. I have a nature. I should be true to myself. I should have a moral and ethical code. Otherwise, I know of great, very big people in the business who just fell just like that. This country also has some recent histories. Go and read. They all become none because they missed on this. Don't take it very lightly. That is the foundation on which you can build this opportunity set into great fortune for you. Third, you need attitude and aspiration to achieve. See, there are two things you need. One is called prerana, another is called samarthya. Prerana is a desire, aspiration. You should think big. You should say, I want to achieve, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference to myself, I want to make a difference to my family, I want to make a difference to the community, whatever. Try to be aspirational. That is called prerana. But that alone is not enough. You need samarthya, which means you should skill yourself. No? Otherwise, you will be only a dreamer. You keep dreaming. Nobody is going to give you salary for dreaming. Nobody is going to give you money for dreaming. So therefore, you need prerana and samarthya. That comes with the right attitude and drive to achieve. Don't take it lightly. If you do it, the opportunity set will take you. I don't know where it will take you. And this university will enable all that for you. They will put that thought process in you. It's very, very important. The last thing that you need to succeed in this whole game, you should have a deep knowledge of this country. I just sprinkled a few of them. If you don't have a deep knowledge of this country, because let me tell you, this knowledge of this country is going to reappear again. And don't underestimate what we have had. In the last 200 years, it has all been shadowed, eclipsed. That doesn't mean this country had no great past, which we can actually draw upon and create a great future. So you should know, and there are reasons for you to know. So I will take a little bit of time to show you the snippets of Indian knowledge systems. That's been my major area of research in the last 15 years, which I have been discovering very, very sensible things. See, I'm a professor of management. I can go and talk nonsense with people in my institute with top management. They'll just chew me out of the classroom in no time. I can't do that. But let me tell you, all the time I talk Indian knowledge system, and my students and my executives love it. That means there is something more, something very serious in it. Don't underestimate. This country's strength lies there. So to that extent, I want to take you through a few of them. Can we move one step? Just hold. You see a beautiful pillar there on the right. This is about 25 kilometers from the place I was born, in Tamilnad. I am from Tamilnad, and this is a place where I was born. If you have a stick in your hand, if you go there, you can conduct a 3-hour concert. Sapta Swaras sound will come out of that pillar. They are all stone pillars. But if you tap it, you will get Sapta Swaras. And there are quite a few temples in Tamilnad. The Pandya kings built such kind of Sapta Swara pillars. It's a musical pillar. Yeah? This particular temple is the biggest temple in the southernmost district of Tamilnad called Tirunelveli district, in which this temple was built. 700, which is 1400 years back, this temple was built by a Pandya king. Each one is a cluster of 48 pillars. You can't even put your hand in. Made of a single stone. Don't think they take a Fevicol and then stuck all of them. It is a single stone. That single stone is carved in such a way that it creates 48 pillars. Okay? Each one is a cluster of 48 pillars. Right? And there are 161 pillars in this temple. Madurai Meenakshi temple also has musical pillars. When I was a child, I used to go to Meenakshi temple and then keep tapping. Nowadays, the tourist population is so high, they have covered it, nobody can even touch it now. Pandya kings are very good in making musical pillars. Okay? And if you tap one pillar, the next pillar will vibrate because sound waves travel. Now, to make it 1500 years back, there are a few things you should know. First of all, this is the hardest material to work. Granite is the hardest material known to mankind to work. And if you misbehave with it, it will break. While it is hard, it is also brittle. It will break. To make such minute, thin pieces, I tell you, I am a mechanical engineer. I can think of what kind of a ferrous carbon alloy you need to work on this, what kind of a tool you need to make sure that you can do it. How good you should be in sound engineering. Correct? Without that, how do you make these pillars? So I can give you a long list of science, engineering, technology terms that we use today, which must have been behind all this. It's not Maya Jal. You can't do Maya Jal. Correct? Let's move on. People know what this is. I am sure many of you know what this is. This is in Kutub Minar. Correct? And it is the foot of Kutub Minar. This was shifted there. It was not there. Originally it was in Orissa. One king, Islamic king shifted it in the 4th century CE. For the last 1700 years, it is lying on the open sky. It is not put on a box and kept in a strong room in a locker in a bank. It is lying exposed to sun and earth and river and rains and etc. etc. This pillar is not corroding. It's an iron pillar. No corrosion. Absolutely no corrosion for 1700 years. Now, I showed this because this is so famous. There is a place called Kollur in Karnataka. If you go to Kollur, there is actually a iron pillar. Kollur is 40 kilometers from Arabian Sea. That is also not corroding. At least this is in the middle of the country. So, sea is not close by. You may say, no sir, you keep it near the sea coast, it will corrode. That Kollur pillar is also, I don't know, thousands, I don't know, the Indian sort of science professor has written a paper, I was reading it. Right? That's not corroded. It's again an iron pillar. This country has enormous number of iron pillars. There is one iron pillar in Dhar, which is 2 times bigger than this, in Madhya Pradesh. One in Mount Abu. In Orissa, on the sea coast, Konarak temple, 277 iron pillars, etc., etc. So these kinds of things are abundant in this country. Now again, as a mechanical engineering student that I was, this is not easy. This is a very special category of what is called, see, steel. What is steel? Steel is iron plus carbon. So it is called ferrous carbon alloy. That's a technical word. We say stainless steel, alloy steel, high speed steel. So many words people are using now. All those, these people must have known 2000 years back. Otherwise you cannot make it. You simply can't make it. There is one famous wood steel. The wood steel was exported from some 200 kilometers from this place. There is a tri-junction of Kerala, Tamilnad and Karnataka, Salem, Erode, that area. They were manufacturing what is called wood steel. And the wood steel was exported to Europe through Damascus, because that time warfare is all talwar. That blade, which you can slice off people, that blade can be manufactured, big talwars can be manufactured only with wood steel. So India was exporting wood steel. 1963, in a metallurgy conference, they were saying we don't know how to recreate wood steel. That composition is not coming. That grain structure is not coming. They have tried hard. They are not able to recreate wood steel. So Indians were absolutely fabulous in steel. In BC time, not 500 years back, BC time, because we were exporting it in the 1st century BC onwards, wood steel was being exported. Yeah? I don't know whether you recognize this kind of idols you only read two types of news. Either this is smuggled out or it is brought back. There are only two types of news you will read. Either this is smuggled out or what was smuggled out you brought back. You may be wondering why people are smuggling it out. You can't make this with such precision, I am telling you. Till 17th century, Europeans didn't know how to make this. To make an idol which is so beautiful, these are Chola type idols. 7th century AD to 11th century AD, we have mastered this art of making these beautiful idols. Okay? And if you ask, sir, how do they make these idols? We have to go to Vishnu Dharmottara Purana, in which there is a beautiful method called Madhuchishta Vidhanam. Madhu Uchishta Vidhanam. Uchishta means left out. Madhu is honey. Honey left out means honey bee, beehive, no? Wax. Indians know how to use wax, and with wax you can create molds. In that molds you can pour the molten metal, and that metal will have absolutely sharp features. In 17th century, French found exactly that process. Whereas it is written in Vishnu Dharmottara Purana. Not only that, there is another Brihat Samhita, Varaha Meera, so many places you will find it. Again, these were known to us, and not only that, Indians are very good. This is actually a bronze statue. Bronze means copper and zinc alloy. But Indians are good in Panchaloha, five metals. Gold, silver, copper, tin and zinc, lead. Mix it in a particular proportion and make an idol like this. That means I am really the ustad of metallurgy. That is the legacy of this country. We are known for it. There is a place called Aranmula in Kerala. Just go, it is near Sabarimala. They will take a metal and make a mirror out of it. Your regular mirror will pale in comparison with that. Such a beautiful process. They will rub it, they will mold it, cast it, rub it and get a mirror out of it with metal. Still going on. So I went and, whenever I go there, they gift me, because it is considered to be very, very auspicious. So I have 2, 3, because every time when I go on Kerala somewhere, they give me Aranmula glass. I mean mirror, not glass, mirror. We were absolutely fabulous. India taught world how to make zinc. Zinc you cannot extract from the ore when you heat the metal ore. 500 degrees zinc becomes a vapor. 550 degrees zinc becomes zinc oxide. Finished. So, khatam. You have to now catch between 500 and 550 degree. Indians knew how to do it. Whereas, again, till 17th century, Westerners didn't know how to extract zinc. We created what is called downward drift distillation process. And our zinc production was industrial grade, million tons, 1000 years back. World did not know the existence of zinc. They knew, but they didn't know how to take it out. They were only taking it. That's why our share of the world trade was 30%. They didn't know anything. We were only giving them knowledge, we were giving them material, we were giving them silk, we were giving them metal, we were giving them steel, name what not. This is how this country was. Yeah? So this is what I was talking about, Panchaloha idols and so on, Madhuchishta Vidhanam and so on. Very quickly, yeah. So these are all nice gold, Samudra Gupta's things. Can you move on? I will quickly go on. I have already talked about this is a downward drift distillation. This is the wood steel that I talked about and so on. Move on. Yeah. I don't know how many of you can recognize this. This is the only living oldest dam in the world. There are 5 oldest dam people found. This was the 4th oldest. But the other 4, first, second, third, 5th, doesn't exist. This is a living entity in a place called Tiruchirappalli. It's called Grand Anaikat, Kallanai. One Chola king in 1st century BC built it. What did Britishers do? They just raised the height by a few inches in 1804 so that little more water can be stored. We were absolutely good in watershed management. We know how to tap water, how to, process it, how to keep it. This is the oldest still living dam in the world. We have that, technology with us. Yeah? Move on. What you see there are only circles, right? But it's a construction algorithm to make a square. There is a red color square that you see there. What Indians were doing, they wanted complex shapes. This is a very fancy shape. There is a trapezium, there is a square, there is a rectangle. You take this particular thing, there are all kinds of shapes here. Indians needed 77 different shapes even to make a Vedic, altar. Some of them circular, some of them like a tortoise, sometimes like a flying falcon and so on. How did they make it? Very simple. They will put a stick, tie a thread to the stick. If you tie a thread to a stick, you can only generate a circle because you can take the thread around like that. So they did construction algorithms using circle to get any shape. This is called cyclic geometry in modern times. And we have 2300 years back, Bodhayana Sulpa Sutra, Katyayana Sulba Sutra, and British Columbia, University of British Columbia is teaching Sulba Sutra. We have to hang our head in shame. They are teaching an elective called rope geometry, Sulba Sutra. And we Indians don't even know it. We know how to actually construct simple constructions using circle. So that is what it is. Yeah? Go down. So Bodhayana Sulba Sutra is there. I used to teach it in Chinmaya Vishwavidya, but despite I am Vice Chancellor, I will take time to teach. I used to teach the shlokas to construct all these. I used to do it there. Along with Vinayak, I used to teach these Sulba Sutras, but I want people to know that we have had so much of knowledge. Yeah. Look at that. You can't make it just like that. This is a Vedic altar. This has to be made out of exactly 200 bricks. 200 bricks of 5 different shapes of a certain number has to make this. So it was not casually they were making, geometrical shapes. They were all thought about, with all constraints. So the table shows what are the number of bricks you need to make an altar like that. This is required to do with the mother of all sacrifices called Soma Yajna. This is the altar on which you have to do Aptaryama Soma Yajna. There are 7 types of Soma Yajnas are there. That has to be done here. It's a very special flying falcon. It's called Sena Chiti. So this country had a great legacy of math. I would like this university to offer half a dozen elective just on Indian maths because there is plenty of material. Nobody knew calculus. It's not Gregory, Leibniz and Newton and all that. It is Madhava who came with infinite series. Now Encyclopedia Britannica has changed. They called it as Gregory Leibniz series. Now they call it as Madhava series because they understood these are the people who did it. Encyclopedia Britannica has changed its name. Anyway, move on. I will stop here. I can keep going on, but I will stop here. I want a little bit of time. What you see on the left is called a magic square. What it means is, add any row, it will be the same number. Add any column, it will be the same number. Both diagonals will also be the same number. It will add up to 34. You can try. In India, this is called Bhadra Ganitam. And I know an algorithm written in 1st century BC by one Buddhist monk called Nagarjuna who has actually solved this problem. What you see on the right is even more interesting. What you see on the right is called Sarvato Bhadra Ganita, pan-diagonal magic square. What it means is, don't think of it like a sheet. Think of it like a cylinder. You can roll it, no? A sheet can be rolled like this, right? Now you look at 13, 6, 4, the next number will be 1. Imagine it like a cylinder, na? So the diagonal will be 13, 6, 4 and then 1. That will be on this side. That will also be 34 now. So there are so many diagonals now. You cannot even imagine how many diagonals are there. Not only the row is 34, not only the column is 34, not only the two diagonals are 34, there are any number of diagonals, all of them will add up to 34. This is called pan-diagonal magic square, Sarvato Bhadra Ganita. One Narayana Pandita, who belongs to the Kerala School of Mathematics, in 1395, he actually gave a beautiful algorithm for this. In my book, I have that in a simplified version. It's called Turaga Gati, like a horse going. There's an algorithm to create this pan-diagonal magic square, and he said 383 solutions are possible. In 1920, Westerners did not know how many solutions are possible as late as 1920 for this problem. They said only 8 solutions are possible. In 1929, finally they said 383 solutions are possible, which Narayana Pandita said in 1395. So we have such kind of ancestors in this country. Don't underestimate. We have such kind of ancestral knowledge, we have to teach it. We should not talk like this and go. We should not do WhatsApp forward in the morning. The Indians have this problem. There's a WhatsApp university and post office. 7 o'clock, you have to take all these messages and put it there. Take all those. I have nothing to do with that. But I have to keep on saying Sanskrit is great. I don't even know Sanskrit. But I have to send WhatsApp forward saying Sanskrit is great. Great. Please stop it. It serves no purpose. You all say, there may be students of commerce here. You should read Chanakya. This university name is Chanakya. If you read Arthashastra, you will be stunned. I would like a full course on Arthashastra or even a couple of courses to be taught here. No, that level of detail I have not seen in any text in this country. Chanakya's Arthashastra is ultimate. Our commerce students must go through it. Such a level of detail I see in that. So we all must look at it. We all must know it. I will end with just one slide. Why bother about, sir, you don't tell all these, I mean, these are all past, why are you telling all this, you may say. I will give you 2 examples. Can you go on? One more. In fact, the next 100 years, let me tell you, is a knowledge society. The power of a nation is not on military. It's on what is called patent regime. International IPO. Patent organization, World International Patent Organization, USPTO, all those are intellectual rights, intellectual property organization. If you don't get your intellectual property protected, you will become a slave once again very soon. What does it mean? Somebody says, I know something today. If you go and say, I know it yesterday, patent has to be given to you. Which means if he uses it, he has to pay for you. Now all foreign companies, you know what they are doing? They are scratching all Indian knowledge. They want to say we found it 30 years back, 40 years back, and then they are filing patent. Since nobody is challenging, patents are being given. Indians don't know what is there in our text. We are too busy aping the West, looking here and there and doing nothing useful. So we lost the patent on neem. In this neem is a very standard tree in this country. So we know how to use neem. But we could not prove, because we could not lay our hands on a text and say, look at here, 1500 years back we have spoken about the properties of neem. We could not make. So US patent technology officer, get lost. You said, I am not going to give you a patent. Whereas there was another 2 Indians, professors in the US, went and patented turmeric for wound healing. Now our Director General of CSIR, Raghunath Mashelkar, put 200 of the scientists, worked for 10 years, dug up all the material and we won the case. Is this the way we have to spend our time? To prove that what I have to put 200 engineers for 20 years and waste my time? If that is the way we want to go, we will become slaves in no time. At least for that reason we need Indian knowledge. If you are a chemistry student, there are nice things about chemistry. If you are a botany student, there are very beautiful Parasharas, Krishi Parasharas is there, Vriksha Ayurveda is there. Lot of interesting stuff is available. I have read here and there. A few texts I have read thoroughly, but I have read quite a few texts. I know what they contain. That is our responsibility. The world is tapping our opportunity. We should regain our pride. We should know that our ancestors have deeply reflected on a lot of problems that we are facing and have provided solutions. We should dust it and take it out. Of course, we can improve it. We can change it. We can add one more delta to it, add 2 cents to it. All that we can do. But I should know what this country has. So that's the last thing that you need. If you bring all that, I am sure you will succeed. You will make yourself proud. You will make this university proud. We will make India Vishwa Guru again. Thank you for this opportunity.
We are truly blessed to have been associated with you, sir. And I thank you for giving us another perspective to look at our rich heritage of the country and emphasizing and nurturing it through the hands of youth. And that power of youth, I'm sure you have ignited in us today. And thank you so much for that. We have a quick 5 minutes of time where we would love to take any questions from the students forum here.
So my question to you, so with your expertise in operational management, what do you believe are the key strategies and practices that the business should adapt to enhance their operational efficiency in this post-pandemic world?
Of course, I think the notion of success, the notion of how do you sustain competitive advantage, squarely rests on our ability to be improving our productivity and trying to improve our innovation capabilities. If these two pillars are not understood, it has become even more serious in a post-pandemic era. Therefore, I think it's extremely important that we find ways to be very productive, and we should find ways to be very innovative. Only then firms can succeed, firms can hope to survive, and this has become all the more serious in a post-pandemic era.
Good morning, sir. With regard to Indian knowledge system, we have extensively worked towards the Sanskrit text, but why we have given less priority to the local text? So, for instance, if we compare Sanskrit and equally we have a great amount of knowledge even in Tamil or even in Kannada or any kind of language for that matter. So, but the exposure towards the Sanskrit has been more rather than this exploration of those other languages. Being a Sanskrit student, I should ask this question. So, why is that?
So, the answer is, why are you speaking in English today? No, Kannada matadbodu. Illa Malayalam parayum. We should speak in Tamil. Why are we speaking in English today? Why is the entire judiciary system works only in English today, which has denied justice to 70% of the population in India today? Why? Because for some reason, we thought for the purpose of official intellectual transactions, we will use English. That's what we have chosen today. This was exactly what Sanskrit was. Ramanujacharya is a Tamilian, if I have to use today's words. Ramanujacharya is a Tamilian. Shankaracharya is a Malayali. Madhvacharya is a Kannadiga. Yet, all their work were written in Sanskrit. Why? Because that was the official language for transacting. It's a simple choice. In the Constituent Assembly, Ambedkar and a few people heavily argued we should make Sanskrit the official language of this country because they said there is a lot of valuable material only there. For some reason we had left it. So the reason why I am speaking in English is the same reason why Sanskrit was very important.
Sir, it was wonderful listening to you. So as we reclaim our ancient knowledge system, I think the West is not going to keep quiet. So do you see what are the top risks that we'll face? Because I think there is going to be a lot of struggle before we reclaim our space. So what are the potential risks and how can the younger generation be aware of those risks?
See, any innovation has what is called first mover advantage. If you do an innovation, you have what is called first mover advantage. If you are the first person to innovate, then if the innovation, the quality of innovation is such that it is difficult to imitate and copy. Suppose I come with innovation, somebody can copy it tomorrow morning, then my innovation is gone. My first mover advantage is zero. Fortunately, in digital infrastructure and inclusion methodology that India has adopted, I will tell you it is difficult for others to copy it. The innovation is strong by its very nature. It needs a certain kind of an investment into the society, into the existing thing, wiping off the existing things and so on. Therefore, the first thing is we have a window of 10 years before somebody can overtake us on this particular issue. Which means that if we identify this as a potential area for us to really become like ITS, that's what happened. Nobody could beat the Indians. I mean, later Ireland, Thailand, all these people came. But we have moved. So we are the dominant player in ITS. Same thing will happen. The only thing that we need to do is our youngsters must fully be aware of what is happening here and equip themselves with that. Then we have the critical mass to move on.